Hi everybody, my name is Frank, and today I'm going to take you through the steps that I use to draw a face. First of all, I draw an oval, and a good way to learn how to draw ovals is to practice drawing them over and over. And you can use an egg, because the egg has a perfect oval shape, and drawing that will teach you how to draw ovals. Okay, once you got the oval done, you will divide it in half down the center, and then you divide it in half again, and then you divide the lower portion in half, and then the upper portion in half. And then what I do is I put a small rectangle in the center of the face, on the bottom center, and this is going to be where I draw the nose. And then on the lowest halfway, I make a mark, and that will be the lip line. And on the upper half, I'll mark the hairline. And basically, what you have is a grid that you can use to draw the face. Okay, now that we have drawn the oval and we have divided it into sections, and we have our basic diagram of the face, we can start to draw in the face features. And the first thing I'm going to put are the eyes, and I'm going to put the eyes on the corners of the rectangle that I drew for the nose. And you can draw the eyes in any shape that you want. I like them in a sort of an almond shape, and I'm just placing them on this line that I divided here. And they're not directly on the line, they're like slightly below. But remember, they're just your guidelines, you don't have to be exact. And the lips I'm going to put right here in the center of the bottom half of the oval that I divided for the lip line. I'm just going to put the lips right on there. They're not exactly on that mark, but they're close enough to where I want them. And then I'm going to start the nose on the bottom of the rectangle that I drew. And I'm just going to basically draw the tip of the nose, which will be the nostrils and the angles right there. And then I'm going to do my eyebrows right there, and also the eyelids. Almost forgot about those, but we'll just draw those in right there. And then over here, put the other eyebrow. And then I'm going to put in the hair. And right here, the center part right there is going to be the hairline. And she has her hair in a type of a bun. And she's going to have a hairband. And that's going to go right there. And you can see how I'm using this, how I still have the guide there. Basically, I'm just following in the guide. And since this is a fantasy character, we're not drawing from a real model or anything like that. So basically, we're just putting in the features according to the grid line that I drew. And the ears, I usually put them between the eyebrow and the bottom of the nose, depending on the character that you're doing. If you're doing like a character that has pointed ears, maybe a fairy or something, you just draw them in bigger or smaller, however you want. But basically, I just use that guide right there. And then she's going to have these decorative horns coming out of her headband. And I'm going to make some earrings on her, kind of like a loop earring. Okay, and that's pretty much your drawing right there. And the next step will be starting to shade it in. So you've got all the features done. So we're going to just start shading in. I'll just start with the eye area right here. And the shading is going to take the longest. That's going to be the longest part of the drawing. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go in and refine the shading. Just refine it really, really delicately and very intensely. Go back and refine all the shading and stuff that you need to do to bring this drawing out. And you'll see how it really takes on a really nice dimensional look when you do the shading. Right now the drawing looks very flat. Basically it's just a grid outline of your drawing, and then once you do the shading, and it'll look a lot better. So that'll be the next step. Also, if you want to learn more about the steps, they are in the book that I wrote, and it is called The Lost Art: How to Draw Fantasy Females, and it's volume 2. And it goes through all the steps in detail, and it's available on Amazon.com. Okay, so now we're ready to start the shading process. And I always like to start the process by doing the main features first. So I'm going to go ahead and start shading in the eye area. Do all of these features first, then that really gets you prepared on how much shading you're going to do for the whole piece. And also I just like to start on the eyes because it's like the main focal point of a drawing, especially a portrait drawing. And again, I do shade in the inside, the white part of the eyes. Start off with all of this. And so this is when you start your shading. Also, you're going to shape the nose a little bit with the shading. You never want to really draw the nose out completely when you're doing a drawing. I just draw the tip of the nose, and then the rest of it I will do with a shading technique. And then if you want to, I always leave my lines the way they are, but if you want to, you can erase your lines if you're using a pencil, whatever medium that you use. You can go back and erase your lines, but I always like to keep all the lines, even the guidelines. I like to keep them as a reference for the drawing. And on most of my drawings, I will always draw the reference lines very, very lightly. So on the finished drawing, you can't really see them. They're there. I mean, if you look for them, you'll find them. But I draw them in so lightly, and I don't erase them. I don't like, for one thing, I just do not believe in erasing, because it really takes away from your drawing, I think so. I like it when you leave all the line work, and it's just my own personal, it's just a preference that I have for drawing. I think you can call that like your style of drawing. Some people will take a little blender and blend all their pencil work. They'll blend it all together, make it look really smooth and almost like a photograph. That's not the look that I like to achieve. that's not the style that I go for. So I like to leave in all the line work. And what I do is I just try to do it so refinedly that you can't really, that it sort of blends in together. But I mean, it's there, but it's not like real noticeable unless you're looking at the drawing from really close up. And again, that's just my style. There are very many different styles of drawing that you develop after, when you do a lot of drawing, you develop your own sort of personal little style. And here I'm just doing like a light basic shading in for starting out, and then I'm going to keep working on this and keep going in really dark on some of the shaded areas so that you can see how it is done. Okay, and so basically this is the starting process of the way that I draw, or of your drawing. A very light shading, just basically shading out the features that are going to be brought out. So it does get a little bit, I wouldn't say boring when you're drawing, but it does get a little bit, it's a process of just refining the drawing that you're doing by going in and doing all the shading and really bringing the face out. So right now it looks very flat, very basic, but I'm going to go in and really work on all the detail, all the shadows, and you'll see how that turns out.